Hello folks, here we are. Just got a few things here I'm glazing. I've got some GP bowls here. Let's just focus a bit down there on my work area. Okay, so these are some GP bowls. I've already glazed them. These are actually going to go in the kiln to be fired like that, face to face. So I'll just shift those out of the way, put them here for now. I've got these storage jars we've just been doing. Put them there. Now when you're glazing, get yourself organised, get a bit of space around you. Don't congest your board, you know, with everything up, sort of, you know, give a bit of, you're going to need a bit of elbow room here. Alright? So, give yourself some space to work. Okay, let's make sure the glaze is stirred. This is a LEACH white, although it's not got much white in it, but it doesn't really need it. It comes out a nice kind of sort of slightly milky white colour. If you put the Zirco packs in, it comes out a rather sterile white, which I don't like. It's too bright. Okay, so I've got myself a pouring jug, something to put the pouring jug on. Actually, this little pot I did want to glaze as well. Yes. So this little lidded number. All right, let's see. Can we see the glaze? That's what we need to do, isn't it? See the glaze. Yeah, okay. So I keep the glaze on the move. Right, we're going to glaze this lid, but what we don't want to do is glaze it all over, otherwise it's going to have to be all cleaned off, but I'll show you how to do it in such a way. Give that a stir, remove that. Right, what we can do now is just take a little glaze, pour it inside there like that. Okay. Just rotate it like this so the glaze moves to the edge. Okay, and pour out. Now I've got a sponge here with some water. Okay, you can see just that little bit there, just to wipe, and that's it. Okay, so that's the inside done. Alright, now we're going to just dip the top, but we're not going to dip it down very much. And it is important, you know, glaze begins to sediment out, the heavy particles begin to sink down, and if you're only dipping something just on the top of the, very shallow, it can get very watery just on the surface. So, especially now it's important, so I'm going to give it that stir. As soon as it goes still, we're going to take this and just dip it down. Carefully. Sorry, my head in the way. Okay. Okay, so there's the lid outside. There's no glaze there, which is what we want. So I'm going to put that down. Now it's time to glaze this fella. Now, different ways of glazing this. One can pour in. Oops. Didn't mean to do that. And pour out. Or double dip. I'm going to double dip this one, I think. Okay. So I'm going to hold it firmly. Pull up my sleeve. I'm going to go right down and good. That's done. Put him there. Just let your hand come up, and as you lift your hand, you see the droplets, they form on your fingers. So when you've handled something and you've glazed it and you put it down, you want to touch it up. Well, just allow a drop to come down to the end of your finger. If you hold it, it'll come down. Okay, and then you can just touch it where you need to. It's a good little tip, though. Alright, so there's that small cupboard jar. Now that will be quite quick and easy to clean off. Now you'll notice I haven't waxed this one. So usually when I'm cleaning off, I'm using a knife and a sponge. Alright, so just... Sometimes it's helpful to have a sponge and you can cut it up like say a regular sponge like this. With a sharp pair of scissors, you can cut the sponge up into smaller, better size pieces for doing just what I'm doing now. Okay, I could have waxed this, but I didn't bother. Okay, so that's that. We haven't done the bottom though, have we? So there's the bottom. This is a recessed foot. Okay, you can just touch it on there like that, and then give it a little, taking care to clean back a margin to allow, just in case the kiln gets rather hot and the glaze decides to run. Okay, now I have a seal on the side of my pot here. Sometimes I put the seal there and sometimes I put the seal down there in the foot. The thing is, if you're going to bother to put a seal on your pot and you then glaze over it, if you glaze over the seal with a lot of glaze and it's very thick, the chances are the seal is not even going to be seen, it's going to be submerged under the glaze. So then you have to ask yourself the question, well, and sometimes what you can do is give it a slight rub after you've glazed it, just where the seal is, just to allow it to shine forth, as it were. Or you can not bother and just let nature take its way. Oh, phone call. Hang on a sec. Carlos, can you phone me back? I'm in the middle of a clip. In 20 minutes. Thanks. Bye. Sorry about that, folks. The old phone. Anyway, so some people don't bother to seal their pots, and I'm quite okay with that, actually, that way of thinking. Other people, they want to sign their pots. My personal opinion is I do sign my pots, and but I like them to be a little bit not too sort of in your face. I don't mind if they're a little bit quiet, hidden, you know, down at the bottom, tucked in, like that. So there's that one. Okay, that's ready for decorating, so I'll put him over here. Now you'll notice I've splashed the side of this. Okay, in this case it doesn't actually matter because I'm using the same glaze, but if I'd been glazing here, say with a Temuku glaze or a very iron rich glaze, and the spats would have gone then over the other pots, perhaps. So it's just something to bear in mind. I may have a problem here with the depth of glaze that I've got for this storage shelf. Let's just do the lid though first. Okay, now where it's glazed on either side, okay, on the underside I can hold it like that, you see, and where the wax is, where my fingers are underneath, and I'm just going to pass it through like this. Okay, and then now, because I've glazed it all over, you see, he's a difficult number to put down, isn't he? So what I'm going to have to do is, I'll take this little pot here that we had before. You see, what you can do is, I could put him there like that, couldn't I? That's because there's glaze, you see, on the bottom, isn't there? Here. Although it's already pretty much dry. Hello, are we in the picture? Are you still there? You haven't fallen asleep on us, have you? Good. Okay, so now where my finger was, there's a little mark there. Well, take a dip of glaze on the end of your finger and just go like that. Okay, now we're going to take the sponge and just, even though you waxed it, you'll still need to sponge it. Don't think by waxing it you're not gonna need to sponge it. You are. So and there he is, there's the lid, he's done. Now the body here of this pot is troubling me because of the depth of glaze that I've... But let's do the inside first, alright? So let's pour some in, swirl him round, wind up your wrist, and then you can spin your wrist, you see, like that. Okay, now I need to glaze up to that line. Let's see if we've got enough there. And we have to do it slightly at an angle and turn it, you see, because I want to just get it to that line. Ooh. Didn't do a good job there. Just missed a bit there. I don't know if you can see. I didn't quite turn it enough. Got a spare finger, just take a bit of that off the bottom, because this is glazed all over the bottom. See if I can do a bit better with the next one. Okay, here's the lid. Let's get this ready so I can place it straight away on there. So bathe him through. Voila. He's dusted out, yeah, good. Take some glaze, put him in there. Let's see if I can get a bit more. See, you wind your wrist up like that, then when you put him in, then you can unwind him, you see. It's not a bad... Nah! If I had another bucket, I'd put some of this glaze into a shallower bucket and I'd have the depth. In fact, I might do that. Just where that has gone like that, I will actually I'll touch it up with a brush. It won't actually matter because I'm going to band some lines of iron oxide anyway over that top part. Okay, so let's go back to the cleanup here of this. Just with the sponge going over that top bit. See, the glaze comes off very readily with a wet sponge. Yeah. Didn't do too well. Didn't do too well there with that one. You're probably saying, well, Simon, why didn't you while you had the wax out, wax over the whole of the top here? Well, the reason I didn't was because I'm going to spray the top with wood ash, and if I've waxed it, the wood ash doesn't stick very well. Okay, so that's that part done. I'm now just going to who likes cleaning off after glazing? Anybody? Come on, I know it's your favourite job, isn't it? Cleaning off. It's probably the least liked job, isn't it? Cleaning off. But it's a necessary one, isn't it? Because if we don't clean off, and get things all stuck up. Even my sponge, you see, I actually need to change my water here because after I've been using it for a bit, the water's getting a bit murky. So some clean water. Clean water is called for. So that lid there was the one that went with that. And this is the one. Just going to clean off that lid. Yeah, I'm just going to have to get a brush and go over that. Okay, clean down the decks. Okay, I'm going to have to, as I say, it's going to have to be touched up. I'm not happy with that. So, yeah, that is sometimes a problem if you have not enough depth in your bucket, and one can encounter that problem what I had there, not quite getting it there. But apart from that, they'll be okay, they'll be fine. You know, like when you're doing you see, when you put a lid in there, you want to make sure that there's no glaze just on the side of the lid that could stick on the side there. So that's why you see me doing this, to clear back a margin on the side of the lid. So it's not the underside only, but it's also the side. They can stick there, you see. I've got these the right way around. Sticky stuff, that glaze, isn't it, when it gets where you don't want it. Oh dear, oh dear. Oh dear, oh dear, oh dear. Well, I've got 2 more to do, which I will do now. If I can do a better job of them. Okay folks, well, hey, I'm still practicing. So you keep practicing too. See you soon. Bye bye.